Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Whitman Middle School Building Committee of February 13th. If everybody would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. No public comment, I see. So meeting minutes approval for 1/14. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any comments, any changes? All in favor?
We're going to have to do a roll call.
Oh, roll call, sorry. Just with Kathleen, right? Yeah, Kathleen. Brandon?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Jeff? And myself, yes. Kathleen? Kathleen? Can you hear us? Kathleen, can you hear us?
I can now, thank you.
Okay. All right. Do you want to vote on that, or are you abstaining?
I'm not sure what we're voting on.
The last minutes for January 14th.
I had one amendment or one typo
Okay. Go ahead.
on minutes part G. I think it's on the last page, the third line.
Yep.
Mike asked the question from, it said BIDS, B-I-D-S, and I'm sure it's supposed to be from the bidders.
Oh.
Have any impact?
Okay. Okay, so just, does everybody see that? Shirley, do you see that? Yep. Okay. All right, so we can vote on just without going around again with just, it's just another one. Okay. So all in favor, please? Brandon? George?
Yes.
Zib?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Me, yes. Kathleen?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, funding update. Me?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. As you might know, we were going for funding, and we were trying to finish our audit of 2022. That's what we were originally told by Lynn from Unibank, that the Moody's, et cetera, would go by. We recently found out that no, they want the FY23 one done also, which wouldn't be done for a couple more months. We haven't voted on the 22 yet. It's going to be voted on in school committee the end of the month. And 23 would be going through, John predicted, he hoped by maybe the end of the month, beginning of March to them, but it'll still take a while. So in the meantime, Lynn looked to other resources, and we went with the MFOB, that's the Municipal Finance Board, and they actually were very good. Lynn spoke to them, sent them a letter explaining our situation that we had, and still doing some paper information and why it took so long. So we had a meeting with them, Zoom meeting or Google Meet, on the 12th. And met with them, and we were approved for state qualifying bonds in the amount of $76,125,000. And they have a AA+ rating. So that would be better than if we got our own rating back, probably. So we are all set to go. They will have information from Mary Beth for the town meeting.
They already gave it to me.
Oh, they already gave it to you. Wow. Okay, so we're really going very well. So we're really excited about that. So a good push forward. So really good news on that. Okay, OPM update.
Great, thank you. So for financial updates, we have our overall summary. Again, we usually don't spend that much on this page, but the details are in the backup unless anyone has any questions. All right. Moving on to budget adjustments. Oops, I don't know how that happens. Apologies. For budget adjustments, this is where we adjust any budgets, move any contingencies. As you can see, everything is grayed out at this moment, meaning we did not make any adjustments at this time. Down to the commitments, again, this is where we have new contracts, change orders, POs. Again, everything is great at this time, so we don't have any new commitments at this time. For invoices, we do have services from AI3 and CPL for the month of January. For AI3, it is a total of $224,591.80. And for CPL, it is a total of $59,957.75. And I do have the backup if necessary. And we can wait to vote on this, or we can vote on this first, if you guys have a preference.
Does anybody have any questions for them on these invoices, first of all? They're on your packet, too.
No, I'm all set.
You're all set, Kathleen? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Then, so could I have a motion on the invoices? Can we skip and just do the invoices now while we are on that page? Okay, so somebody do a motion with the numbers, please?
Okay, I'll be happy to do that.
Okay, Kathleen.
Okay. I move that we pay AI3 invoices 0030B-2203 for $216,163 and 0024E-2203 for $8,428.80 for a total of $224,591.80.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so it's voice vote again. Brandon? Okay,
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Keep going?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
And me, yes. Okay, that one's fine. Kathleen, you want to do the other one?
Yes, I move that we pay Collier's invoice number 102347 for $59,957.75.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, again, all in favor, Brendan, George, Steve?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
And me, yes. Okay, invoices are approved.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to also remind everyone, we do have the pro-pay submissions, which is like eligible reimbursables, and as of right now, we're up to 12, but we'll work with Stephen now that we've formally added this invoice in for pro-pay submission 13. Moving along to cash flow, I'm going to just enlarge. Again, typically, I don't usually spend as much time on this, but as of right now, we're still projecting to the goods. It's best shown on the graph, which I can show you in a minute. As you can see, it's just below, which is on up to where we currently are. Moving down to schedule, I'm just going to follow down the line to where we currently are. As you know, we've been working through the bids and had received the file sub bids and the general contractors as of yesterday. We finally have the award, the received general contractors bids, which we'll be walking through momentarily. But next will be hopefully to approve the select awarded GC and notify and execute a contract, as well as hopefully move into the construction phase of the project, which is really exciting news. Any questions as far as the next couple of weeks?
Anything? No?
Great. So that moves me to our bid updates. So we did receive, I did send this out earlier this morning for distribution, and we did receive 3 qualified general contractors, which I would say between AI3 and CPL have worked really closely with in many previous projects, and are happy to say that any of these will be well qualified. But as you can see, Fontaine Brothers is the apparent lower bids. Here. So just to kind of walk through what we have, the base bid was $106,669,882, which is what we had for the base bid project. As you can see, Fontaine Brothers came in at $91,076,000. And if you do the base bid budget versus budget, this is the differences between all three general contractors. As you move along, you'll see that we provided the cost for the alternate 1A and 1B, which AI3 would walk through later on after this. But to add to that, this is just the cost of what that would look like if you included just the bid with the alternate 1A. And then if you actually wanted to include both alternates, the total of that with the base bid. So if you move along to the other pieces, this is just checking off the boxes, making sure that they provided all the necessary documents when they submitted the bid. But the great news is if you do go to the lowest bid, you could qualify both alternates at this time, which is really exciting. Would you like to add anything, Mike?
Yeah. Have you worked with these folks? I wanted to ask that question. Have both of you, AI and...
Yes, we work with Fontaine, and I believe AI3 has worked with Fontaine quite a bit.
Multiple times.
Honestly, all three of these guys, these contractors, are very qualified. I'd be happy with any one of them. We did have a fourth contractor that was pre-qualified. They did not bid.
Oh.
We happened to have another project that we were doing, our company's doing, not us too, but it was bid the day before, and that company was the low bidder on that one, so we're expecting that's why they didn't bid here. So I think we have a good representative bidding of the market. We did take filed sub bids 2 weeks before. That's part of this. Those came in pretty low. A lot of the savings here is on that filed sub bid side. But I think this is great news for everybody. Looking at just the base bid, where we're saving more than $15 million from the budget. If you took the alternates in there, you say that again really loud. More than $15 million. and the other part of that, we haven't run the numbers on the 3011, which is the budget agreement form. But I will say with very high confidence that if not 100% of that, almost all of that will be district savings. So like that $15 million is coming right off the top, right off of the district share of it. So we're seeing very good savings on that. Even if you take the alternates, if you took both the alternates, you're still well under your budget. Again, not saying you have to, but you're in a very good position to choose base bid with alternate 1, or base bid with alternate 1 and 2. Just to be clear on that, you do have to do both alternates. Like, you have to do the alternates in order. But we're in real good shape with that.
So just a quick question for those who don't know anything like I don't about this. There's a lot of talk out of the federal government about tariffs and steel and everything. Is that going to go up, or is that locked?
So once you've signed the contract's locked in. There are force majeure in different avenues that a contractor can try to propose a change order, but there's methods within the contract that we'll work through. The good news from that perspective is you have the savings. The MSBA will more than likely recommend that they're going to take their portion of the savings back. Sure. Your portion of the savings can stay in the project, become part of your contingency. Yeah. So if we were to have to deal with something like that down the line, you've got funds available. Not saying that we should spend them or we're going to have to, but you have that ability to have that flexibility.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so any other questions?
Did it surprise you that Fontaine came in that low comparatively to the other two?
I would say that it was a surprise. I would say it does happen that they, given their circumstances, they probably need a project to backfeed their workforce and their workload. They're, as you can see, they're extremely competitive, and they just put more money on the table between the two. It's not that surprising, given the amount. $5 million, $4 million out of a $100 million project. This is that's it.
The other thing I will let you know is, just to kind of piggyback on what Troy was saying, we just had a company come in and do what we call a lunch and learn recently, and what we're seeing in the market in general, especially with the subs, even more so than the generals, is that they are being very aggressive, that I think that they've had a lot of work for a while, and the work isn't as plentiful as it was, say, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and companies are starting to worry about, hey, I need to keep my people going. So if you look at the filed sub bids, I think more than half of that savings, I think 3/4 of it was in the filed sub-bid section. And that's indicative of those sub-bidders being hungry and going after it. And we had good bid showings. Like, we had multiple bids across every section with the exception of elevator, which is not surprising. We did have one bid on that, and we went forward with that bid. But other than that, we had very good bid coverage across the board, and that's how we got there. Is proper planning and having the luck to hit the market at the right time is a certain part of that.
And great designers.
Yeah, so $9.5 million was saved through the filed subcontractor bidding process, and then the remainder was the GC. So that difference of $4 or $5 million, given the general contractor percentage, filed subcontractor percentage, is not as surprising as you think.
Any other questions? Okay, I need a motion then to vote for the GC. Okay, for, which one?
Vote for
You have to say which one.
lowest bid, Fontaine.
Fontaine Brothers. Okay. Good. So I had a second? Who was the second? Okay. All right. Brandon? Yeah, that's okay.
If I can,
Oh, wait a minute. Oh,
before you take, so it's great that we're doing.
oh, I know.
before we
You want to
vote,
say the base bid
do we
first?
want- Yeah, do we
The base
want
bid.
to talk about base bid versus alternates?
Yeah, so we can't just bid right now, vote right now on the base bid, or you rather have us wait?
Well, we can do whatever you want. I think Troy and I were just talking that you have a 30-day window, I think you said, Troy, that we can come back and revisit the alternates if you would like. Alternate one is solar on the roof with battery backup, and alternate two, yeah. do you wanna-
He's gonna explain all that. All right.
I think you guys have a.
All right. Do you want us to hold until you give your?
Yeah.
Okay, we might, yeah, because we might not choose the alternates tonight, is what I'm saying, because we want to look and study, and everybody wants some time. But you might as well do the information then now, and then we can do the base, and then, like you said, we have a 30-day window to do the alts if we want.
Yeah, Julie's got a fantastic presentation for you guys on the alternates and what that means.
Okay.
I didn't want to steal her thunder.
All right.
If you don't mind.
No,
She can go through.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah, I
hold
think
the
that's actually
vote.
perfect transition, so.
Yeah, we'll hold the vote. Is that okay with you, Brendan? I mean, I'm sorry, okay. Sorry, I was taking your thunder. Didn't mean to. Sorry. Hi, bud.
Driscoll had the door locked on me. I'll be speaking to him later about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Just in time,
Don't give me the,
just in time for the ad alternate, just what you wanted to talk.
good.
We didn't vote anything yet, okay?
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Julie's going to present.
Okay. Yes, just as Troy queued it up for me, tonight we have a review of the ad alternates, and this really is just information to support whatever direction the committee wants to make. And again, if you feel comfortable making that determination by the end of the meeting, we could certainly do that. But otherwise, we have the information here, and of course, you're welcome to follow up with any questions after we go through it. Just a reminder of what the ad alternates that we are considering are, that were carried in the project. We have ad alternate 1A, which was the rooftop solar and battery energy storage system, which is will be located on the site, away from the building, but kind of right behind the transformer and the generator. And then add alternate 1B, which is the canopy-mounted solar PV system. And both of those are pretty equal in what they're generating for power. So it's a 49% on the roof to 51% on the canopies. And then you've seen this decision-making tree before. Just to let you know where we're at in the process, we had designed the project to be net zero ready. And so the difference between going from net zero ready to net zero is really that determination of if you're bringing on both add alternates.
So Julie, before you continue, so the building is solar ready as it is, right? It just, so.
That's right.
It would be solar ready, so, anytime solar could be added.
Exactly, yeah, really good clarification there. So the building, part of the base bid includes all of the conduit underground running out to the locations of where canopies would be, for example. So if the committee were to determine that including the solar panels in the project at this time wasn't for you guys, you would still have the option of then adding solar afterward, after construction, and that could additionally be either in the form of owning it, purchasing it outright and owning it yourselves, or doing it through a power purchase agreement. And so each of those have their own pros and cons. We've shown this slide before with the main pro of owning the PV, that the district would have, would be the beneficiary of the incentives and any of those rebate programs. Of course, that means that you would be paying for the installation and maintenance costs associated with that. And then later in our presentation, we did run a life cycle cost analysis of what that would mean as the owner, so we'll go through that. Versus a power purchase agreement, you wouldn't necessarily be responsible for the maintenance of them. It's really the difference between, like owning a house versus renting. So you're sort of renting the solar panels, and then you'd be subject to the contract with the PPA. And then also common misconception that the power that you're generating from the panels doesn't necessarily just go right back into the building. It still has to go out to the solar transformer. That gets spit back to the grid before then the grid redistributes it back to your building. And similarly with the energy storage system, the project was required to carry an energy storage system because the PV system itself was greater than 500 kilowatts. And that's a component of the SMART program through Massachusetts. So we wanted to make sure we were setting the project up for the greatest amount of incentives if that was the determination of the committee. So making sure to include something like the energy storage system, and then you'd have the rebates from the SMART program. I know all of this is very detailed, but we only bring this up so that in our life cycle analysis, you'll just know that we have incorporated the rebates for the SMART program and the net metering and any other incentives and rate adders associated with getting sort of the biggest benefits from determining whether or not you're accepting those add alternates. And so looking at the GC final bids, again, just as Shirley presented, Fontaine having that $91 million base bid, and then being the lowest bidder, not only in their base bid, but also in their subtotal and total bids. So sometimes you might see that a second contractor was higher on their base bid, but once you add in the add alternates, maybe they're lower than the sort of first place GC. That wasn't the case with Fontaine. They ended up being lower across the board, which actually makes your decision easier if you were to go with either of the add alternates. And again, we just want to reiterate the budget of that $106 million compared to this $91 million that came in. It's just really amazing to have such a differential, and it's hit us at a really good time where coming off of COVID and those elevated construction costs and, such a high level of escalation that had to be carried. So I'm really glad that it ended up resulting in a savings for the community rather than going the other way. And so our life cycle cost assessment, we set up with a couple of parameters. The first being that we know we have ad alternate 1A and ad alternate 1B. So comparing the acceptance of either of those ad alternates to not accepting either of them, and the interest rate of what you would get to bond. So we don't know that number yet, and so for just the purposes of this analysis, we've provided a analysis at 6% rate and an analysis at a 3% rate, just to give a sense of the range. And I can walk us through the line items here. So that one-time installation cost are the numbers that come directly from that Fontaine bid. So you're seeing about $2.3 million for ad alternate 1A, and then $4.6 million for ad alternate 1B plus 1A. Just as Mike had mentioned, you can't accept alternate 1B without accepting 1A. So it's one or both.
But you could accept 1A without 1B, right?
Correct, yep. And then in the second line, looking at that install cost plus the loan term. So our life cycle cost analysis goes out 25 years. So what is the cost of that compounded at 6% over the life of the system? Replacement cost, we did assume that there would be some level of replacement on an average of a dollar amount per 10 years. So you're seeing that for either ad alternate. And then similarly, operation and maintenance costs for either of those scenarios, coming to a total life cycle cost of $6.4 million for ad alternate 1A, and then $8.4 million for 1A plus 1B, compared to the baseline of $4.3 million cost, which you might be saying, why would there be a cost associated if there's no ad alternates? That, for the purpose of the life cycle analysis, is taking the utility cost and then compounding that over 25 years at an interest rate for a comparison. So everything in red here is showing a cost or a loss. But then when you get into the savings and considering the utility costs, that's when you start to see it a little bit of a payback. So again, with the baseline, not having any renewable on site, you'd still spend about $254,000 a year on your utility costs. But with solar on the roof, you would be in the positive, where you would actually be saving $104,000, according to the analysis. And then conversely, with ad alternate 1A and 1B, you'd be doubling that savings per year in your utility costs. And then the line below that is taking a look at the additives from all of those incentives that were in the previous slides as well. So with the total life cycle cost savings, even though you're making money back on your utilities annually, you would still obviously take a big investment initially for that installation costs. So the life cycle savings in this scenario, at a 6% rate over 25 years, you're still looking at a loss of $2 million for 1A, and then a loss of $4 million for 1A plus 1B. We did include a line item for IRA funding here, and that really helps to close the gap where it's getting closer to that zero mark. And we can actually see that better, I think, in the graph form. So on the blue line here, you're seeing if the ad alternates had the IRA funding, those two lines that get closer to the zero mark. Again, neither one of them cresting past zero, so that's to say you wouldn't necessarily get a payback on your installation cost over the course of 25 years if you're bonding at that 6% rate. So we did do a second scenario again at the 3% rate. And I won't go through all of the line items again, but you can see that the total life cycle cost is less. You're still getting the same savings annually with your utilities and your incentives. And then the difference in this one is that you're starting to see a payback for your life cycle cost savings in the positive with the IRA funding. So if the IRA funding is available, and to date, it is still available. As of January 30th was our last source reported that it is still available. You're looking at a positive payback period. So after about 20 years, you would see your payback on both, they're pretty close, 20 and 21 years, for either adult 1A or 1A and 1B, both with the IRA funding. Without the IRA funding, you're still in the red, but the differential to the zero mark is within $1 million. And so I will just add that even with this 6%, having that IRA funding pays back about 90% of that installation cost. So you're not necessarily making your payback across 25 years, but you're still getting 90% paid back, and you'd be saving, annually on your utility costs.
Julie, I have a question about the IRA funding. Now, you're saying it's good right now. So if we agree to this now, does that mean we're locked in for IRA funding, or will it be when it's time installed?
Not necessarily, because you wouldn't be able to apply for it until the project is complete and the solar has been installed for at least a year. So it's actually more like 2030, which if it's any consolation, that would be the next administration. So.
After me?
So I have a question.
Sure.
So could you talk about, because when you look at all this, it's very confusing, but we would still be saving monthly, or however we do it, on our total bill.
Right.
Correct? So what you're displaying right here is the cost of installation.
That's right.
Right? But you still would be saving monthly on that bill.
Right, so instead of getting a utility bill that you're then paying $250,000 a year, in the scenario for the 3% rate, for example, you would actually be getting back $100,000 annually for 1A, or $200,000 annually for the combination of those two. But to your point, exactly, you're making that initial investment in it before you start to see the savings annually through your utilities.
I have a question.
Justin?
And so because of that, I'm just a little curious how the district pays its utility bills. So this is basically trading an operating cost that the district pays every year for a capital cost paid by the town of Whitman. Are utility bills assessed out as an operating cost to each town by their share of students, or is it by building in each particular town?
Share of students.
By share of students. It's just an operating cost built into the budget and reassessed back out. So,
yes,
in effect, we'd be borrowing, $6 million in the 3% to save 60% of the electric bill for that building for the town of Whitman and 40% for the town of Hanson.
yes.
Okay.
That's a good way to look at it.
Good question.
Brandon?
Can you answer it about the solar canopy if I ask some questions about it?
If you keep it high level, but.
In a couple of scenarios, you say 25 years for a break-even. Are these things going to be workable, viable in 25 years? Are they just going to be dinosaurs sitting out there? And I wonder in middle school about like breakage, for example. One of them's right next to a baseball field, kids would climb on them, those type of things. Do you see those issues? Do you know the lifespan of these things?
Yeah, so
those are the questions I guess that I have about this.
Yeah, definitely valid questions. The PV technology itself is evolving so frequently that maybe that should be a consideration, in that if you were to own them, it's very much like owning a car or leasing a car. If you're owning that car, you're committing to that make and model for the life of the car, but something much newer and brighter and shinier with a better technology package might come out, versus if you're leasing it, you could then replace them every few years with once the lease is recycled. To your point, I think the solar, the lifetime of the solar, and Troy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is about a 25-year. That's why we pursued the life cycle cost analysis?
The degradation of a panel historically has been 0.5% to 1% each year. So in 25 years, you still have 75% approximately of its output. But system change and certain technology changes as well.
Have you guys put these in schools before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like kids throwing rocks at them or anything, and are they durable?
Well, in our yeah,
There's a lot of kids that hang out at the school after hours.
yes, we would, where we had determined their placement to begin with was very much considered where, they would be out of a path of a baseball or a ball, or in a location too where their efficacy was valid for absorbing as much solar energy. So there was thought in their location of them. Are they indestructible? Definitely not. So if someone wanted to make the effort to destroy it, I'm sure they could. If the canopies were up and you didn't have the solar, that still offers a shading device over time if you wanted to remove the solar.
That's my question. Yeah, my question is are the canopies part of the fabric and the blueprint of the design, regardless of the solar panels?
They are not. So if you accepted 1B, that's when you would get the canopies installed.
Oh, good question. I thought we got canopies anyway. Yeah. Okay. Stephen?
What's the life expectancy of the roof?
The roof?
Yeah.
That would be about a 50-year lifespan. Sorry, 30-year lifespan.
30?
Yeah.
For the roof material you're talking about?
The roof materials.
Yes. 20 to 25 years.
20 to 25? Yeah. So
Similar to the panel.
So potentially in that 6% scenario, right, we have to replace the roof before we've actually saved any money. Is that fair?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll just add, these are really good topics, and we only put this series of slides together because on the surface you might immediately think, oh yeah, of course we saved $15 million on the bid, we should accept these without a second thought. But yeah, just to equip you with all of the consideration that it's great for the environment, and it's a direction that we had discussed I think last spring, and there's a lot of grant programs that will support that decision, but it comes at a cost for your installation, and so your utility savings will offset some of that, but it's definitely up for discussion.
Yes, Jeff?
Do we know what the performance guarantee is on the panels? Is there any type of guarantee that the panels are going to produce 80% of their energy they've been producing for 25 years, per se?
So we won't know the selected panel until we're in construction. If you move forward with this and we're in construction, and there will be a shop drawing submittal process, but we do have specifications for them that where any manufacturer would have to meet those performance requirements. I couldn't tell you what those were off the top of my head, but I could certainly look in our specifications and get back to you.
Thank you.
Yes, Mary Beth. Is this rate, or these two rates, based on what we're going to borrow the entire project for, where we don't know what that would be?
So it was just being able to provide enough of a range. We did work with our energy consultant who had seen a rate of 5.1 on another project, so we were just trying to be conservative and provide a low end and a high end.
I did receive the pro forma schedule, and it was a conservative schedule from Lynn Welsh yesterday, and it was for 30 million is based on 4.5%. Just to, so it would probably fall somewhere
that's good.
between these two, and I believe it's a 30-year, loan.
Yeah.
But this 25 years for the calculation, would that change anything where the debt would be for 30?
We could definitely plug it in. We did find that with the 25-year, having about a 5.5% rate was the break-even point for either scenario. So I would think across, we could definitely try it with 30 years.
I was just wondering, a 30-year based on 4.5, what would that look like?
Yeah.
That's only the first 30 million. We don't know, of course, what the next borrowing will be or the rate at that time.
Yeah, that's really helpful information.
Thank you.
Sure.
Stephen, did you have any other questions?
Yeah, I really wanted to hear this and absorb it more because, like Stephen and Jeff's budget last night, I looked at the biggest number on the whole thing and then, was thinking backwards from there, and that's not the way to go. You look at what all the components are, what are the savings and so forth. I've had 3 meetings this week, so I'm not really caught up on my homework, so I do apologize. But, the other thing is just the perception. And this gentleman handles it very well on Facebook for us. And I say us because I'm talking the whole town. But we know that there's always a lot, and it's brought up almost like it's brought up, what's the trash holiday next week? What's this? And it's brought up in small ways sometimes, but I know what people are saying, that they're tired of costs, and we just went through our budget last night, and hearing how many towns are looking at overrides, or potentially. I'm just looking at that side, and I'm not telling anyone, I'm not coming here to say, you got to vote against this, because the taxpayers would never allow us. Seeing this and hearing more about the general contractor and so forth, and reading more, it's all coming to make sense. And I know we're right in the middle of an era of solar being the choice. It's not, it's not everything else. It's not necessarily wind turbine, although we did try to get one for here 20-something years ago. And, it's...
And Fred wanted his windmills.
He wanted his windmills, yes. And not become one, but have one. Certainly. But, I mean, and once again, I'm sitting beside the expert right now, so that's why I kind of take the listening as a big part. And of course, what you folks share. This is what the important part to me was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I certainly didn't want to miss this.
Well, and it's very dense, and I'm probably not explaining it well enough, but whatever can help make the most informed decision, we would support.
George, you want to flip a coin or roll the dice?
No,
or
we're not doing that yet.
Okay.
No, we're not. We still have some to go.
Yeah.
So you can continue, Julie.
Sure. So I just have one other slide where, in case we had the question of, does this have any impact on our pursued LEED certification? The scorecard that we've been using up to our 100% CDs, we've always kept the renewable energy credit in the maybe column. And even with that, the projected score for your LEED card is 64 points, which puts you into that LEED Gold certification. And so determining whether or not the project has renewable energy won't impact the LEED certification that the project's pursuing. And then full disclosure, the difference between silver and gold doesn't offer you anything financially. It's just more the status and the plaque, so. And with that, that was everything we had. In our draft, we had a slide for, to make the vote about the ad alternates, but just as it was explained, as long as that determination's made over the course of the next 30 days.
Okay. All right.
We could vote on the general contract tonight, and then in another month, we have 30 days to vote on the ad alternates, you said?
What we would suggest is recalculating based on the information with the 30 days, 4.5%, recalculate, bring that back to the committee, as well as any other information that he has identified in 2 weeks. And just have a virtual meeting if that's possible, and go through the updated information and take a vote at that point. By Mass General Law, 30 days to make a decision, not including Saturday, Sunday holidays. But we would probably want to do it sooner rather than later to get the contractor moving and the decision made.
Okay, Troy, so would you would rather wait on the whole vote until that time?
No, the general contractor vote, sorry.
Yeah, I know. We're in the way here. Hi.
The general contractor vote could be made tonight.
Okay.
Sorry.
I would say the general contractor vote, I would ask.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, if we could do that at least.
Yeah, that should be done tonight, and then, and that's a no-brainer.
Right.
And then the alternate vote.
In a couple weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
If that's the timing that the committee is good with the committee.
Yeah. I need to have your opinion, Brendan.
I think we can vote on that.
We have a motion, we're in discussion, we already have a motion in the second for Fontaine.
For Fontaine, yeah. So that, everybody's okay with just doing that tonight? Everybody agree with that?
Just one more point of discussion, if I could.
Sure.
Well, can we just have like a general talk, like, hey, how do people feel about the ad alternate 1 and 2? Because, like, if you, like, I'm up in the air. Like, like I'm the guy that put in a pool 15 years ago, wired it for heat. I don't have a heater yet because I have, I haven't paid for it. So I don't know what the benefits are. I'm truly up in the air. So, like, Steve's putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm happy to wait. Yeah. I don't think anybody wants solar on this building more than me, but it's just hard to justify the cost right now. I think, if I had to pick, I'd probably go against the ad alts. Maybe the updated numbers might change it, but hope that the district, there's 20-something-year-old solar panels on this building. It might be time to visit a lease across a couple of buildings and see what that might save, total budget-wise. But yeah, I don't think, and especially, it's hard to justify the cost, especially if, capital cost now saves operating costs for both towns down the road.
It doesn't feel right.
It's a difficult vote in a tough budget year.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. And I think that's what, like,
Yeah, I think we still would like to see the information in a couple weeks, though. Yeah.
Because
Just to
I
see.
still don't understand, and I'll put this in an I statement because I don't really know what the hell's going on here. But I still don't understand. So we're saving, we'll be, if we do this, we're always saving money.
Yes.
From the bill itself.
That's right. Yeah.
However, we have increased costs in order to save money.
Yeah.
And at the time of the whole thing, when we're finally just saving money, it could be, if all the grants come in, at 14 years, but it could also be at the end of the expected or past the end of the expected life at somewhere between 20 and 25 years.
That's accurate.
Okay. 25 years.
And we're end of life here right now.
Yeah.
In high school, it's 20 years in September.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right. So, yes, Mary Beth.
I just wanted to say that the 4.5 is just an estimate until we go to market, of course, and that's only on 30 million out of the 76 million. So we don't know if they go out, we go out in another year for the balance or whatever, at what rate. So
Yeah.
those are just
Yeah.
hypothetical
But they did
numbers.
agree to carry us the state agreed to
They
carry
did,
the whole
yes, which is
75
great.
million, so,
Yep.
or 76, whatever it was.
76.
So we could stay with them at their better rating if we don't get a good
Right.
rating, so.
Right, which is good.
Yes, it's nice to know. Very good. All right, are we ready to take a vote then on this one? Okay, Brandon. We're just the general contractor.
General
Yeah,
contractor.
yeah.
Fontaine.
That was the motion from Brandon, a little bit.
To vote for Fontaine Brothers as the general contractor.
Right, okay, so yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Crystal?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and me, yes. Kathleen?
Yes.
Okay, so,
Can I ask?
yes.
Okay, I don't want to be controversial, I don't want to be an extender, but I'd like to make a motion to vote on the add 1 and add 2 tonight to get the discussion.
Yeah, you don't need to, but you could, if you want, for discussion in 2 weeks?
Well, I guess my point is, can we do it tonight and then finish it, and then the bid takes place easier? Or does everybody really need more information? Or does everybody think they have a view that we could do it? So the only reason why I asked for the motion was we could get to a discussion that says maybe yes or no.
Yeah, the only reason was that I felt that this group, the way we dealt with everything else, that you like a little time to look at everything.
I'll do it, fair enough.
You know, before we do have that discussion. I don't know about anybody else, but knowing how you've reacted to other things, usually it's time, and I see people saying yes, so if we want to wait the time, George, so. Okay. All right, so we have a GC.
Great.
So when are we breaking ground?
Yeah.
That's my question. Well, we need the 2-week, but we need an in-person meeting for March. Is that what we're talking? Or?
What would you guys prefer? 2-week virtual quick or a full meeting?
Yeah, 2 weeks virtually would be, because it is a quick presentation. Discussion could be as long as you need it to be, but it probably would be more efficient virtually with the topic and the things that we're talking about.
Okay. All right.
Can you want to go back to Tuesday, the 25th? Normal time, virtual?
Joint select board, but not till 6.
Yeah, we're going to meet at 6.
We have meeting at 6, but it's virtual, it should be quick. That would work.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so what day, when was that again?
February 25th, we'll do a virtual meeting at 4:30.
What time would that work?
4:30?
4:30?
Yes. And do you want to schedule another in person so we can talk about,
Virtual 4:30, February 20th.
Not that I'm being pushy, but I just want to break that ground.
You said March.
Just so you know, because
Yeah.
So I think if we could do, the next full meeting would be maybe March 18th, if that works. If that doesn't, we could do a week sooner than that, but I think the 18th would be preferred.
We have negotiations.
3/18?
The family.
Yeah, that's can we go the Tuesday before or the Tuesday after? We have a lot of stuff going on that Tuesday.
So I think we can manage the 11th. All right, why don't we manage if the 11th will work, I'd rather.
25th?
25th is good.
Yeah.
25th. 25th works, right?
25?
Too much.
Negotiation pending.
Well, we don't have a set.
Okay, good, yeah, then it works.
25th works.
Yes, Brandon?
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, sure.
If we don't vote before, on the ad alternates until the 25th of March, doesn't that?
No, we're not going to, we'll vote on the ad alternates at the virtual meeting.
Okay.
On the 25th of February. February 25th is the virtual meeting, at which time we'll get the other information, and at that time we'll vote for the ad alternates. Okay? Yes. Yes,
I
Brandon?
know you asked about breaking ground, I didn't hear the answer. What?
Well, honestly, we have to wait for the general contractor. We're going to have to do a kickoff, and I will tell you, by not voting on the alternates tonight, it is going to slow that down a little bit. Yeah.
It's all right. Like Stephen says, we need to have the money coming in, too, so. Anything else? Any other questions for anybody? You guys have anything else?
No?
No?
Good job.
So we confirmed the virtual meeting is February 25th.
Yes.
And we said the full meeting, March 18th, didn't work.
So
We said
March
either the
25th.
11th or the 25th?
25th.
We want to keep, all right.
25th will be it. Okay? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Brennan?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Crystal?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes?
And me, but yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good